Hello and welcome to the Queen's Lair. It's your girl, the Mad Queen, and in today's video, we'll be going over the PvE tier list for June. But before I jump into the video, make sure to hit subscribe, like the video, and if you want to be notified every time I post new content, hit that notification bell. I want to start out by saying that I took a few different things into account when I was making this list. The first thing I considered was how many uses does each hero have in places like the adventure stages, dungeons, endless trials, void tower, and guild boss. The second thing I looked at is how effective or efficient is each hero in these locations. I will also be separating the tier list by their rarity, because there are a lot of heroes to go through. I will leave timestamps for you to jump through to the other rarities. Let's jump in by starting out with all of the legendary heroes, followed by the epics, and then ending with the elites. Lydia is the dodge queen. Unfortunately, she can't be used in any of these locations except for the void tower. And that's only in very specific situations, and even then, there are still heroes that can outperform her there. Ezreal is a powerhouse and can do a ton of damage, especially in a good Avarice set. He can be used to clear adventure stages, endless trials, and the void tower. Gubeg does not have any good uses in PvE. Hector is a decent champion, and he can deal a lot of damage, but unfortunately all of his abilities are single target, so the only places you would really use him is in Tulpa and the guild boss. Crazed Urzag has massive AoE hits, and he can hit very hard. He works great in places like Adventure, Endless Trials, and the Void Tower. Corrupt Auroch is a single target attacker. He can be used in guild boss, Endless Trials, and Void Tower. But there are definitely people that can do it better than he can in most of these locations. Valeria is overall an amazing hero. All of her abilities hit multiple targets, and she hits really hard. She can be used in Adventure, Endless Trials, and Void Tower. She is also one of the best heroes for each of those locations. Dark Nick is definitely one of the more fun heroes to play around with, but unfortunately in PvE, his only real uses are Void Tower and possibly Endless Trials. Nicholas can help in places like Void Tower and Endless Trials. He has a very hard-hitting AoE attack for his third ability, and his trait makes him one faster than his fastest ally. Evelyn Firston is a great support hero. She grants attack up and defense up to her allies and defense down to an enemy. Her third ability gives all of her allies an extra turn at the end of each round. She can be used in dungeons like Witch and Gemini, Void Tower, Endless Trials, and Adventure stages. Ciara's trait and passive are what really make her viable. She's granted Vengeful Spirit, which gives her an extra 8% attack, and it can stack up to 6 times. Her passive does a huge amount of AoE damage if an enemy's health gets below 50%. She's great in places like Endless Trials, Void Tower, and Adventure stages. Abaddon looks amazing, but unfortunately, he's not. Gangelo has to be the god of PvE. His kit is focused around poison damage, and once you have him ascended twice, he makes poison do 100% more damage. Gangelo can't be used in most of these locations, but is one of the only heroes that can run every dungeon in the Arcane Dominator. Balberth is someone I had high hopes for, but unfortunately he's not used in any of this content. Desmond's kit is based off of a plague that he spreads from one enemy to the next. He can be used in Adventure and Queen of Tides, but there are a lot of other heroes that are just way more efficient. Blackhorn is an amazing support hero. He puts attack down on an enemy, summons a totem pole that lasts for 3 rounds that cleanses and heals all allies, and then has a huge heal for his third ability. He can be used in dungeons, guild boss, and adventure stages. He could also be used in Endless Trials and Void Tower, but there are other heroes more suited for that content. Nathalia is the only hero in the game that can revive dead allies. She's great to use in places as a safety net. Adventure stages, dungeons, Endless Trials, Void Tower, and Guild Boss are all places she performs very well. Cyrus is one of the legendaries you get from the fusion, and she can be used in almost all of the content. but there are other heroes that can outperform her in most places. Brand the Brilliant has a lot of potential and can also be used in a lot of content, but again, there are just other heroes that can outperform him in most PvE content. Brand is another great support hero. What really makes him great is his trait, which grants allies a shield based off of 10% of his max HP after Ascension, and his third ability, which removes one negative effect from all allies, and then grants them all the bigger versions of Attack Up and Defense Up. He can be used in Adventure, Ash 14, Endless Trials, and Void Tower. Tia is another fusion champion. Her kit is based off of Frostbite. She does an average amount of damage, but she can be used in most places because of her AoE attack. She can be used in Adventure Stages, Endless Trials, Void Tower, and Guild Boss. But there are a lot of other heroes that simply do more damage. Yolanda is another hero for the most part that can be used in all contents of the game. She puts out a huge shield, grants a member of her team immune and attack up while also giving them a bonus turn. Her passive also gives the ally with the lowest health every round Guard. Guard protects an ally upon taking a massive amount of damage and then restores some health. Imogen's kit is based around her getting extra turns. She is best used in Void Tower and Endless Trials. Avera grants herself attack up, she removes a buff from an enemy, and she gets bonus turns. She does big AoE damage, and she's best used in Adventure Stages, Endless Trials, Void Tower, and Guild Boss. Zedlin unfortunately cannot be used in a lot of places, and he thrives mostly in Guild Boss. His third ability doubles all damage done to a target over the course of 2 turns. This could also be useful in very specific Void Tower circumstances, and although he is amazing at Guild Boss, he doesn't have enough uses in PvE for me to place him higher in the list. Savannah is the last legendary in our list that is also a fusion hero. Her kit is based off of reducing her ability cooldowns and granting herself more damage. She could be used in most places, but all of her attacks are single target. Mulhex is a simple champion for the most part. If he has attack up, then he can do a multi-target hit. His damage overall is okay, and you can use him mostly in Adventure Stages and Endless Trials. Hydrasia grants speed down to enemies, and her second and third abilities are both AoE. With every valid hit on enemies, she gets an opportunity to proc a bonus AoE turn. She can be used in Ash 14, Adventure Stages, Endless Trials, and Void Tower. Pharell is tanky and can do a lot of damage. He works great in Tulpa, the Void Tower, and the Guild Boss. Tashir's kit has the possibility to apply Frostbite to an enemy. She also removes all negative effects from an ally while granting a crit damage and speed bonus, and then her third ability applies shield and damage sharing. She could have some possible uses in the Void Tower. Boulin is an interesting hero, and she has a debuff called Induction, which deals damage based on the caster's attack upon taking damage. She can be used in Void Tower and the Guild Boss. Florence is still a brand new hero, and based on her kit and the amount of healing she grants to her team, with the combination of an extra turn, transferring a debuff from allies to a random enemy, and placing an increased damage taken debuff, I would say that she has possible uses in dungeon content and the Void Tower. Opel is another new hero that's kit works around joint attacks. Her passive also will not allow her to take more than 51% of her max health and damage from a single attack. She has good use in Endless Trials and the Void Tower. Bachelard is another hero that seems like they could be good, but until Ignite gets a much needed buff, I can't rate him any higher. And lastly, to wrap up the legendaries, we have Dark Dragon as Reyna. She has a lot of potential with her kit, and her passive deals damage to all enemies, removing a positive effect when an enemy uses a non-attack ability. Unfortunately, she has Ignite on her third ability paired with Unhealable. Ignite desperately needs a buff because it currently doesn't do a lot of damage. She has possible uses in dungeon content and the Void Tower. To save a little bit of time, I will only be going over the heroes in and above the B tier as we move along. Let's go ahead and jump into the epics. I have already placed in the tier list the epics that are below the B tier, and just because they aren't high on this list doesn't mean they aren't good. It just means they aren't good in PvE overall. The first epic hero we're looking at is Gajar. He has poison in his kit, but what really makes him great is his third ability, which will explode all poisons on the targeted enemy. This is great for running poison compositions in dungeons. He is actually in some of the fastest team comps in the game. Unfortunately, his only use is in dungeons, and even then he's really only used in Gemini and Queen of Tides, which is why he isn't rated higher. Lunar Melisa is a great control champion. She isn't used in dungeon content, but she's great for Void Tower and Endless Trials. Nathalia is one of the biggest carries in the game. She has an AoE as her basic ability and a huge AoE nuke on her third ability. She can be used in Ash 14, Adventure Stages, Endless Trials, Void Tower, and the Guild Boss. If you pair her with William, she does even more damage. William grants all allies 40% more damage on basic abilities, and 60% after Ascension. He has an ally join in on his basic ability, grants counterattack and defense up, and does an AoE defense down with his third ability. He is useful in Adventure, Dungeons, Endless Trials, Void Tower, and the Guild Boss. Santis is a fusion champion, and she is easily one of the best dungeon farmers in the game. Her kit consists of placing poison, and she's great in Ash, Gemini, and Queen of Tides. Zatlux is a very strong champion, and you can obtain him for free after completing 200 arena fights. His passive gives him 30% crit rate, so you only need to put gear on him with 70% crit rate. He works great in Adventure, some dungeons, Endless Trials, and the normal Void Tower. Scarlet's kit consists of placing a bleed effect on an enemy. She also has a passive that transfers lethal damage she receives to her wolf. Scarlet is great for the guild boss, but currently doesn't have any other uses. Akron has a passive ability that grants his team 10% of his defense and 20% after being ascended. His third ability gives his team 15% health that can stack 3 times. He is also a fusion champion, and he can be used in Dungeons, Void Tower, and Guild Boss. Jacob is very good in the Guild Boss. He can also be used in very specific Void Tower situations. He uses stacks of Rage to deal damage, and he also stacks Intrigue, which gives the target minus 20 defense that can stack up to 20 times. He also goes into stealth, so he can't be targeted, and AoE damage received by him while in this state is reduced by 30%. Antonia is a very hard-hitting single-target attacker. She works off of Unicorn's Blessing, which deals 30% more damage when attacking and reduces 30% of incoming damage. She's great in Guild Boss, Endless Trials, and specific Void Tower situations. Last but not least, we have Winstrix. She's great to pair with slow teams because she grants a speed buff and an attack buff. She also reduces the ultimate ability of someone on her team, and she works well in Adventure Stages, Endless Trials, and the Void Tower. And again, to save time, I will only be going over the heroes in and above the B tier as we move along. Let's go ahead and jump into the rares. I have already placed in the tier list the rares that are below the B tier. Zachary is a decent elite champion that can help you in the early game. He grants himself attack up, does more damage to someone low on health, and has an AoE attack. He can be used in Adventure, normal Void Tower, and Endless Trials. Luke is good in dungeon content only because his kit is based around poison. If you don't have a Gangelo, Luke is a good second option to place with your Santis. Mary puts up immunity, an increased damage buff, and invincible. She can be used in Ash 12 with the White Wolf team comp, normal Void Tower, Adventure Stages, and Endless Trials. Connor has the chance of placing defense down on one enemy. He grants a shield and attack up to all of his allies, and heals the whole team with his last ability. Adventure Stages, Endless Trials, Guild Boss, and Normal Tower are all places that he can be used. Joseph places a speed buff, attack up, and defense up on all allies for 2 turns, removes negative effects from an ally, and has the possibility of granting that person an extra turn. Once he's ascended, he gets an extra 20% speed. He's great in adventure stages, endless trials, Ash Dungeon, and the Void Tower. And for our very last hero of the video, we have Rodera. In my opinion, she is really an underrated hero. She has attack down, a cleanse, she heals all allies, and puts defense up. She can be used in dungeons as a replacement for Blackhorn. She can be used in normal Void Tower, endless trials, and adventure stages. I really hope you enjoyed my PvE tier list. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below, or you're more than welcome to join my growing Discord community. The link for that will be in the description. Thanks for watching. Once again, it's the Mad Queen, and I'll catch you in the next video.